I'm Victoria Calvin. In our last episode, we talked about title basics. In this episode, we are going to talk about adding texture and dimension to your scrapbook page. Now, there are a lot of products out there on the market that you can use to add some fun texture and dimension to your page. I'm going to talk to you about a few of my favorites, and then I'm going to talk to you a little bit about adding foam adhesive that will do the same thing, adding a little bit of dimension and texture. And what I mean by that, we look at this example page, is adding in things like chipboard pieces or even some of the foam-backed elements. There's also enamel dots and brads that are used to add a little bit of texture and dimension. And while, like, say, a die cut is just simply kind of one-dimensional element, you can add in these other elements that bring in just some really fun character and interest to your page. And they don't have to be overwhelming. You can add them in as accents, or they can be the main focal point of your embellishment cluster. So let's take a look at some examples of some of these elements. So first up, I love decorative brads. These particular ones have adhesive on them already, so you have to do is just take them off and pop them there on your layout. Notice there's a variety of sizes and colors that look fantastic on a scrapbook page. One of my all-time go-tos, and I think that pretty much every layout that I make, I add enamel dots. This is a great entry-level way to be able to add texture and dimension to a layout. I love how smooth these dots are. I love a smooth texture, but they're not too dimensional to where they make your page bulky, and they add just the right amount of detail to a layout. Another thing that I like to use are little chipboard stickers, and here, of course, is an example, and I use a couple of these here on our example layout, but these come in a variety of different icons. This particular chipboard is really thin, so it's not going to give you a whole lot of bulk to your page. Some of them do come a little bit thicker, and you can actually take off some of that chipboard material to make it smaller if you want to. But I love all of the different embellishments and icons on here that I can pick and choose and use on a scrapbook page and use those along with other dimensional elements that I might want to feature on my project. Another fun element that I love using, and I didn't use it on this particular project, but there's tons of them available, are wood veneer pieces. Wood veneer is a very natural element that you can put on, and you can do a lot of things with this. So you can pop them here on your layout. You can even alter them with paints and all kinds of fun materials. You can get to that down the road. But don't be afraid to try these out on your scrapbook pages. They come in a variety of different icons and sizes. It adds just another different texture to your page and a little bit of dimension as well. Another element that I love are these foam back stickers, and essentially they are a sticker that has a foam backing here. This one has adhesive, which is fantastic, so you can use this on a variety of projects. It does add a tiny bit of dimension there to your page, and notice that I use this particular set to create part of my title. Again, like with your regular die cuts and other things, it comes in a variety of different icons and colors, and so you can pick and choose what works best for you. And then the last thing I love are using things that add a more of a decorative element to it, but also add some texture and dimension. So here are some chipboard frames. And as I mentioned in other episodes, I like working smarter, not harder, and I'm kind of a lazy scrapbooker. So I love using elements like this that already have dimension to them, a little bit of decoration. So then let's say, for instance, if I want to add a frame to my photo, I can totally do that. I just select a frame that I like, and I can just add that over my photo, however that may fit. And then I've added even more texture and dimension to the scrapbook page and a whole lot of interest without having to do a ton of work, a little design work, so just a little tip. But these are really fun to use on a layout. They come in a variety of sizes and colors and designs that you can easily pop on, not only to frame out a photo, but you can also create your layered clusters and add in other dimensional elements as well. Now, if you don't have a ton of those elements, or maybe, for instance, you have a die cut that you like and you want to put a little dimension behind that, then using adhesive squares or adhesive foam is a fantastic option to do so. So what you do is you just simply take the element that you want to pop up, put a little bit of foam behind that, and stick that right on your page. Now, Scrapbook.com does offer a wide variety of foam adhesives, from strips to the dots as well as the squares, and you just pick an item that you like or pick a foam that you like and use it to pop up and add some dimension on your layout. So for example, here is a cluster where I have a little bit of that foam right behind this little floral cluster here. So it adds just a tiny bit of dimension to that element. And I can do that not only with my die cuts, but I can do it with other flat embellishments as well. So if I want to add even more heightened dimension to, say, my chipboard piece, I could add a little bit of foam behind that. So this is a great way to add some dimension without a ton of bulk on your page to some of the elements that maybe aren't as dimensional as some of the other things that I've shown here. So all of that together, adding in these different elements, let me bring over this layout. Adding in all of these fun, different textured elements adds tons and tons of interest to a scrapbook page. As a beginning scrapbooker, I recommend that you play around with different elements. Maybe try, let's say, a die cut sticker, a chipboard, and maybe a flat back enamel dot, or maybe even a brad, and then see how you feel about that. If you want to add even more of those textured items, go for it. Add some wood veneer, some acrylic, there's leatherette elements. There's all kinds of fun textured and dimensional items that you can add to a scrapbook page. But the ones I showed you today are a perfect way to start. Stay tuned for our next episode where we're going to talk about adding finishing touches to a scrapbook layout.